If they're asking you to wait to share the cakes, to be the one to share the cakes, to be the one to unstack it for them, to be the one to pack it, pack the one for bride's family, pack the one for groom family, you can delegate to a staff, but make sure that it is included as a service charge. It is not free. It is not a free service. Another one, I delivered the cake to the mainland. I was going back to the island for a business class, and they asked me to wait. And I said, I can't wait. They don't do this anymore. I was actually telling the woman that they don't do this anymore. It's like actually old school. Beautiful people, welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Oluchi. On this channel, I share cakes that would help you grow your cake business. I do talks on entrepreneurship, personal development, story time and vlogs as well. And you're welcome. If you're new to my channel, you're most welcome. And if you're an old subscriber, I just want to thank you so much. Thanks to every one of you for making this happen for me. Yes, we have crossed the 1,000 subscriber milestone, and I'm so happy. From the deepest part of my heart, I want to say thank you for subscribing, thank you for watching, thank you for your support, thank you for your questions, your comments, everything you've done to help me hit this milestone. Now you know that we have one more to go. We have many more to go, if I may put it that way. So please watch my videos, like, share, subscribe if you're yet to, and let's get this channel growing. I know that many people need this channel because there are not a lot of us, so many people need this information, and what we share, what I share here is of value and of great wealth. So please share to as many people as you can. Watch and like these videos. Now we are going into a topic which I have treated before, but this is the second part to that topic, and it is wedding cake tips from a pro. I'm going to be sharing more tips added to what I shared in the first part of this video. When I did the first part of this video, anyway, I didn't know there was going to be a first part. I didn't know that there were going to be there was going to be another parts, or there were going to be other parts to it. But after sharing, I realized that there were more tips that I could share. I think I remember saying that if I remembered more tips, or I would share, and this is that video, a promise to that video. And also someone asked a question that also gave me some insights into what I need to share and what you need to know, so I'll be doing justice to that and also sharing more tips. So if there's something you're interested in and you definitely want to keep on watching, and stick around because I'll be right back. You're welcome back. So we'll go right into the topic, and the first thing I'll be starting with is addressing those of us who are just starting, or those who have never done a wedding cake before, those who have never gotten a wedding cake order before. I know you might be thinking, like, majorly all the tips I shared, I think, were for those that we're already in the business, or who had already started doing wedding cakes, or who are looking forward to the first order. But if you are in that category where you've not had your first order, or you're just thinking of how to go about it, or you've had your first order and you are planning towards the cake, making the cake, delivering and everything, I would also be addressing you here. Now, there are some things you should know. You might be thinking, how do I start out? How do I even get clients? How do I even get customers? Look, I have nothing to post. I have done no wedding cake before. I don't even have anything to post. I don't have a wedding cake picture of my own that I can post and say, oh, this is what I've done, so you can trust me to deliver yours. How do I go about getting clients? Now, what you need to do, or my advice to you, will be to start with family, friends, and friends of friends, or friends of family. Now you need to start putting out the word. Just let them know that, okay, I can do this, I can do that. I know the first wedding cake ever order that I got came from my brother, my younger brother. It wasn't his wedding, but it was his friend that was getting married, and he told that person, my sister bakes, you can make this wedding cake. And that was when I made this cake that you see right here. I remember I posted it in the first video, in the first part of this video. So that was how I got this order. It was from my brother. It was from my brother's friend from my brother. So my brother referred me to the person, and that was how I got this cake order done. Now, another thing you want to know is that family members would get married, you know, by God's grace, they'll get married, and then you can offer to do their wedding cakes. Okay, they should be paid. You should be paid. No, they should be paid. You should be paid, depending on the agreements you have with them. But I believe that they should pay for their cakes. Now, when they pay, it's an opportunity for you to showcase your skills. It's an opportunity to showcase what you can do. It's an opportunity for you to put your best foot forward. It's an opportunity for you to just let them know that this is what you can do. And then you can have a wedding cake picture, in quotes, to your name. You can have it as something that you've done, and that's how you can build your portfolio. Now, if you've done this over time for 1, 2 family members, friends of family members, or friends of family, friends of family members, or friends of friends, then you can have some things in your portfolio to show to people, because they would ask you, can I see some wedding cake samples that you've done? Do you have any wedding cake pictures to show me? When I was starting out, when I had just two, then I think when I had just two, like the one my brother got for me, and then another one, the second one I had ever, I don't even know if I have a picture of that cake anymore. I think it should be somewhere down my Instagram page. Those were the only 2 pictures I had, and that was what I was showing to the clients. I would let them know these are the only 2 that I have for now, because these are the only 2 that I've done. And then if I have to show them some other samples, I'll let them know that I got this online. These are not my jobs, but I got them online. Now a caveat before I move further in this aspect. Okay, I was going to come back to something, but I'll get back to it. So that I don't lose my train of thoughts. Now a caveat, you don't want to take samples of cake designs that you cannot do and show to clients. It's going to get you into trouble, and you're going to get stressed at the end of the day. All right, so when they ask for samples, if you let them know that, oh, you don't have anything for now, you've not started, that you don't have that, this cake, you might just let them know, even simply, you might just let them know that these cake samples you're showing them are not your works. They are not yours. You're not laying claims to them, but you can draw inspiration from this. You can borrow this design. You can do this tier like this. You should be able to have that confidence and speak like a professional. So do not take what you cannot do with the hope of reaching out to A baker, B baker, baker down the street, baker in your WhatsApp group, baker in your Instagram group, wherever it is. Yes, Instagram has groups. So bakers in, like, wherever you feel that you can find these bakers, people that you know, and you feel, oh, I can ask them questions, I can ask them anything. They would even help me. They might help me do this cake. It might not always be so. They might not have the time. They might not even have. They might not have the time. They might not even have the knowledge. Some, to your disappointment, which is the sad reality, is that some might not even be willing to help, or to help for free. Yes, and they have a right to whatever they want. Okay, so don't depend on anybody that anybody is going to put you through. If you can get help, all well and good. But if the help doesn't come from where you're expecting it, from whom you're expecting it, then don't be disappointed. That's why you should choose designs that you can easily figure out. You can choose designs that you can easily borrow inspiration from and go ahead with this. Now we'll be moving on to the second point, which is your wedding cake designs. Now, you know that wedding cakes are not like regular cakes. They're not like your 8-inch cake. They're not like your 10-inch cake. They're not like cakes that you can just decide you want to do something, just want to put things together and then come up with something. They are designs that are elegant. They are designs that are clean. They are designs that are classy. Some of them modern. Some of them rustic. Some of them, it's just a mix of the designs, and then you can see how to work with it. So when you're looking for design inspirations from online platforms, maybe like wedding sites like Pinterest, from Google, wherever you're getting the designs from, you want to bear in mind that there are certain things that you should be looking for. Now, these are designs that might have to do with sugar flowers, sugar lace designs, paintings, freestyle paintings, freehand paintings, edible sheets, edible wafer papers, rice papers, some classic stenciling, textures as well. So you want to think about these designs like abstract designs. These are the things that you should be looking for, that at the end of the day, when you put them together, there is such an elegant look and it oozes of class. That is one thing you want to know. So with each step, with each cake you're doing, look out for these things in terms of your design. Don't just put anything together. It's not your regular cake. There should be a difference and there should be a distinction to the kind of design you do, so that your wedding cakes can stand out. Now, the third thing I'd like to talk about will be your feelings for your cakes. For me, I do rich fruit cakes. I'm taking a breath because I know that people these days do different flavors for wedding cakes. But for me, like I said in the first video, to be on the safe side, to give me time to work, for a sturdy look and finish feel to my cakes, I prefer to do rich fruit cakes and nothing else. And then in my entire baking life, in the history of my baking career, I have never done anything other than fruit cakes for my weddings. Now, I've explained to you how you can go about it if your clients want or insist that they want other flavors. You can check the first video on how you can go about that and the advice that I gave. So let's assume that we are working with rich fruit cakes for this wedding cake order. I know that some people use these types of fillings. Some people use nothing. Yes, they use nothing in between their wedding cakes. You can say hello in the comments if you're someone that uses nothing in your wedding cakes for filling, like for filling the layers together, for sandwiching the layers. Some people use jam. You can say hi if you use jam in the comments. Some people use buttercream, like myself, I use buttercream. So just give me a thumbs up if you use buttercream in the comments. Let me know which team you belong to. Do you belong to team nothing in between the layers, team jam in between the layers, or team buttercream in between the layers, like myself? I'd like to know in the comments. So these are options that are available to you. It depends absolutely on what you want, what works for you, your experience so far with all these things. Now, remember that I said in between the layers. Now, I've seen people who sandwich or who use it for the outer covering. It doesn't work for me. Why it doesn't work for me is that because at the end of the day, my fondant will begin to slip. It will make my fondant slippery. So you might want to use it as the first coating, allow it to dry off to some point, and then use your buttercream to go for a second covering or for a second layer to crumb coat before you use your fondant. Now you need to crumb coat because you need a layer or a foundation or something for your fondant to stick to. So don't just go ahead and cover it with your fondant if that's what you're using, like a fondant wedding cake. You need to give that base coating so that your fondant can stick to it. I believe that we're good to go with this point. So whatever works for you, whatever rocks your boat, please feel free to go ahead and use. The first thing I'll be talking about will be your finishing. I spoke about this in the part 1 of this video, but I realized there were some other points that I could still touch. These are the following points that I would like to touch. So for me, I find that paneling tall cakes is way easier for me than covering in full. First of all, I don't cover in full. I cover all my cakes, my fondant cakes, if I have to do them, by paneling. Paneling means covering the top of your cake before covering the sides of your cake, or covering the sides of your cake before covering the top of your cake, and not covering in full, like not draping a full fondant over it. So you roll in a rectangular form and then wrap it around the cake and then put the top on it and then try to close the seams, or you put on it first and then roll your rectangular fondant and then wrap it around, whichever way works for you. The only difference is that if you cover the side first before the top, you have the seams at the side, but if you cover the top first before the side, you have the seams right on top of the cake, which you can neatly seal or use your smoother to get rid of. Okay, so when you have cakes like 6 inches, 7 inches, 8 inches, which is typical of wedding cakes, 10 inches, 11 inches tall, please do yourself a favor of paneling these cakes. It will save you a lot of stress, to save you a lot of headache, and I'm talking from experience, to even save you some fondant. It's going to save you some fondant, it's going to save you some resource. So please ensure that you panel. It's easier that way. And then because these cakes are tall and fruit cakes are naturally dense and they weigh more than regular cakes, than your sponge, your red velvet and everything, they are heavy. They weigh so much than the regular cake. So when you want to flip, if you're paneling, you have to flip. Yeah, you have to flip. When I mean flipping, I mean turning your cakes upside down, turning them back again. Get someone to support you. Get someone to assist you, because the weight might be so heavy for you and you do not want the cake to slide off and fall. So please be mindful, get someone to assist you, or get someone who is stronger than you to do it. If you have a male staff and you have staff working with you and you have a male staff, oh well and good, get the person to do the flipping. Or in most cases, I do not even look at this person is a male, we do it together. Okay, so I'm on one side, the person is on the other side, and we count, we gently do it. If you don't do it in sync, if you don't do it simultaneously, your cake can drop on the floor, and you do not want that. So it needs carefulness. It needs, precision. It needs carefulness. You need to be calculative about it. You need to be very, very careful about it. And then for the kind of boards we have here in Nigeria, which we use right now, I know that the silver boards are still pretty much in use, but of recent we've had boards that are white. They come white, or they come in black or white. They come in black or white. Those boards are slippery. Now when you have covered your fondant, and like I said, you've allowed them in the first video, I'm referring to the first video, you have allowed them to dry, to set, and to firm hard. When it comes in contact with these boards, they are quite slippery. So when you're flipping, please take care. Take care. You might want to dust some icing sugar on the board before you do the flipping so that it doesn't slide off your board. This is one thing you should know. And then for the finishing again, the second thing I would like to talk about is the chrome coating. Before you go ahead to chrome coat and to cover your cake, make a compote. I've done this in one of my videos. Yes, this video right here. Please ensure that you watch it on how to trim and cover a pillow cake. I did a little sample or a demo on how you can compote, you can prepare compote that you can use to fill the seams first before chrome coating. What does this help you do? It helps you to get rid of those lines, those annoying lines. I know they're annoying. Those annoying lines that shows the layer of your cake, that shows where one layer ends and then when the other starts. You want to get rid of those lines by using a compote first to fill those spaces, to fill the joinings before you then chrome coat, smoothing with your scraper. Allow to maybe sit for a while if that's you before you cover. It will help you get rid of those lines. Okay, and then the third part to it, which is also part of the finishing, is that you should cover with thick fondant. Not overly thick, but the fondant should be reasonable enough. I cannot say what level of thickness now, but it should be reasonable enough so that when you cover, the layers are not showing. Don't manage resources. Ensure that you charge right, and then when you charge, you are at, you feel good and you feel okay to take, to use resources to, really deliver on the job and deliver excellently well. So please ensure that you use thick fondant for your covering. Now, the fifth part of what I'll be talking about will be the point that I tag as miscellaneous because it's just a mix of different things. Now, I'll be talking about the delivery. When I deliver my wedding cakes, I keep them flat on the, it's either if I'm using an SUV or a Jeep, whatever, a 4Runner, not a regular car, I can keep in the boot of the car. I'll keep flat, ensure that I support it so that it's not tilting, it's not bending, nothing is happening. Or I can keep at the back seat, depending on the number of layers I have. I just know how to arrange them in the car. So please ensure that you're arranging them well. They are not slanted. When you put them on the car seat, they sit straight and leveled like so. You might need to use a book or a bottle or something to give it some support so that it stays leveled, and then drive carefully. That is for the delivery. I do not, like I mentioned in the first part of this video, deliver my cakes stacked. If it works for you, beautiful, but I do not deliver my cakes stacked. I put them in individual boxes and then do my stacking when I get to the venue. Our roads here are not friendly, so I wouldn't want to take that risk. And if it works for you, if you're in an area where it's good and you can afford to stack your cakes, that's fine. Okay, now the next thing I'll be going to will be the items you can rent, such as cake stands. Your client says, oh, I want this elaborate cake stand, I want this gold cake stand, I want this extra. Ensure that you include it in your cake costs. If you're renting, include it in your cake costs. If you're making it anew based on the specifications of their demand, it should be included in your cake cost, okay? And for cut-ups as well, cut-ups are not added to the cost of the cakes. Cut-ups are different. Now, there are different levels to cut-ups. There are cut-ups, when I mean cut-ups, I mean these small pieces of cakes that you serve at weddings. There are cut-ups that can just be put in cake wraps, covered with nothing so fancy. There are some that come in fancy, beautiful boxes. Depending on what you're using, the size you're making, please ensure that you cost right. And a great tip to help you is to bake your cakes in square pans. It makes it easy for you to cut them into squares, and it's pretty much easy for you to calculate, do everything that you need to do without having too much of waste. All right. Another thing I'll be talking about under this miscellaneous point will be speech at the venue, and this is arising from the question one of my subscribers asked me: do you have to give speech at the venue? Do you charge extra if you have to wait? I would say, that thing is just so outdated now. It's old school. I do not know about your location, but in Nigeria, I know that we don't really do it anymore. We don't do it anymore. It's just a few people that will still request. So I remember one that I was asked to wait and give a speech, and I had work to do at the studio. I couldn't wait, so I had to leave. I think the person that was asking me to wait, it wasn't even the bride. The person that was asking me to wait, a family member or so, got angry and said they were not going to serve me rice. They were not going to give me rice. They were not going to give me a drink. And it was just okay. I couldn't afford to sit down there and wait for them to cut the cake and then give a speech. What am I giving a speech about? The colors? No. It's so outdated. Another one, I delivered the cake to the mainland. I was going back to the island for a business class, and they asked me to wait. And I said I can't wait. They don't do this anymore. I was actually telling the woman that they don't do this anymore. It's like actually old school from where I come from. All right, in your location, it might be still with something that is a wedding trend. It's something that they do. It's something that is a must. Something you just compulsorily have to do. But here I don't do it. If I have to stay to give speech and everything, if you have to stay to give speech and everything, when you have other things to do, then please, you need to charge for your time. What if you had multiple cake orders? You have to deliver to location A, B, C, three locations on the same day. How are you going to manage that? And just you don't have so many people to work with. How are you going to manage that? What if you have other things to do? What if you have classes to attend? What if you have work to do? What if you have like all the deliveries to me? There are just so many factors involved. So I told her she asked actually, do they need to pay for my time? Do I need to charge extra? And I said yes. You include that as service charge. Even if it's your staff that is waiting, include that service charge. If they are asking you to wait to share the cakes, to be the one to share the cakes, to be the one to unstack it for them, to be the one to pack it, pack the one for bride's family, pack the one for groom family, you can delegate to a staff, but make sure that it is included as a service charge. It is not free. It is not a free service. It's your time, it's your skill, it's everything that is involved. So let them know that this is going to be a service charge, and then charge appropriately for whatever tax or whatever you'll be doing. It is not a bad thing to do. All right. So I'll also be talking about knives. Ensure that you buy a set of knives. If you charge well for your cakes, it wouldn't be a problem. Just get a set of knives that you can leave, because most likely at the end of the day, you're not coming back with your knife. You will not see it. That's this knife that you use for weddings. And then you can Google beautiful ways on how to decorate and beautify these knives that they will use in cutting their wedding cake, so that it's not just a plain thing right there. You can just look for it to, give it some sweet taste and to make it look beautiful for the occasion. All right, so these are some of the tips that I'll be sharing. I hope that it's been useful to you. I hope that you've gained a few lessons from this, and I hope that you're going to put these things to practice. Please, if you still have further questions to ask me, feel free to do so in the comments. And if you're yet to subscribe and become a part of this family, please do so by clicking on the subscribe button, turning on notifications, and giving this video a thumbs up. Until I see you in the next video, stay happy, stay safe, and stay blessed.